Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Drawing with Mr. Polda. On today's episode, I'm going to try out a challenge. I'm going to try out the cheap versus expensive challenge. I've got this set of colored pencils from one of my students over Christmas break. And I'm going to be using these colored pencils as more of my cheaper side. These are colored pencils that range around, or at least the set does, around 20 to 30 bucks, right? Somewhere around there. And on this side, I've got Prismacolor Premier, and we all know that Prismacolor is one of those high-end, high-quality companies, especially when it comes to colored pencils. And so I'm going to be using that for my expensive side. I have a redraw that I did for a Paleo spike horn, and so I'm going to show you what the student's drawing looks like. So right over here, we've got Brooks Paleo spike horn that has a lot of greens and pinks to it. It's got horns, it's got some feathers and stuff like that. And so I made a redraw, and so here's the redraw coming right here, and you guys can kind of see that I kind of went more of a dinosaur route with it. I still kept a lot of the same elements, the same color scheme with the pinks. Has that one unicorn horn, right? It's got some wings, it's got some feathers coming off of its legs. It looks like it had some hooves, so I added those as well. And so this is going to be my paper. I'm going to be using this half for my cheap, quote-unquote cheaper version, right? My cheaper side of colored pencils, and this side for my Prismacolor. I can't wait to give you guys my feedback, and I hope you guys let me know what you guys think about it. I'm going to let this video time lapse, and then of course I'll talk to you guys about my final results. So without further ado, here's the time lapse. So I had to stop it here because I just completed the cheap side of the expensive versus cheap, or cheap versus expensive challenge using the Daler-Rowney Artist Sketching Set. And a couple things. I noticed with these particular colored pencils, right, with the ones that I'm using right here on the side, right, I felt like it took a good while to kind of get the blends in, even when I was changing variations of pressure using pencils. I'm not saying it was a complete disaster. I'm just saying that it was not as comfortable, I guess, trying to blend the colors together and try to get like marks of highlights and trying to show a little bit of texture. I felt like certain areas just were lacking. And so that's just kind of my take on the cheap side of things right now. I still got the expensive side to go. And so I'm gonna go into that using the Prismacolor Premier colored pencils, and we'll see what that looks like in just a moment. All right, guys. So I just finished this challenge. I just finished the expensive side. My take is that I think because of the soft core colored pencils that I had with Prismacolor, it was a lot easier to lay down color, and I felt like it was very smooth within transitions. Like just kind of touching on here, it just feels really smooth rather than me kind of going on this side. I felt like the colors blended better. I feel like it pops out a little bit nicer, I think. You kind of definitely tell between the colors over here. I know, granted, I'm using different greens and different pinks and reds and purples and things like that, but I think there is a lot more variation. There's a lot more contrast. This side pops out a little bit more, I believe, than this side. I think this side's a little bit more on the duller end when I compare it to the expensive side. I think this was a fun challenge. I think I'll definitely do another one of these challenges. But I think the next time I do this, instead of colored pencils, I think I'm gonna try alcohol markers, just because I feel like that's the medium that I excel best at. But let me know what you guys think about this cheap versus expensive challenge. If you guys end up doing your own, please go ahead and send it to my email. I'd love to see what you guys come up with, whether or not you're using colored pencils, paints, alcohol markers, crayons, whatever. I'm really excited to see what that ends up looking like, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video on Tuesday. You guys take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.